Hi y'all, this is Regina. Welcome back to Regina's Crafting and More. I am, I've created some edge to edge, autumn leaf, edge to edge. Let me flip over to my File Explorer. So these are, this is the square ones. And you can put them together any way you want. So I have 4 different ones in each size. You can take this one and then stitch this one right after it. You could take this one and stitch this one right after it, or you could stitch them all in this, stitch them all in that, stitch them all in that, blah, 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 blah. Or stitch this one first, then stitch that one. Any combination, okay? So I've got them in rectangles from 4x4 to 10 5/8 by 16. And these are the squares, I'm sorry. So I only go up to 10 1/4 by 10 1/4 on the squares. So 4x4, 6x6, 8x8, 9.5 by 9.5, and 10 5/8 by 10 5/8. On the rectangles, now these are what I'm getting ready to just do a stitch at and stitch of. I'm going to start with this one and actually stitch it out, and I'll show you in just a second. So they come in the 5x7, the 6 1/4 by 10 1/4, the 6x10, the 7x12s, the 8x12s, the 9x14, and the 10 5/8 by 16. So that's the sizes they come in. Now on this one right here and this one, what I've done in my software is I've married one of the 8x8s, or 2 of the 8x8s. One in one, let me get back over here. Shoot. Go back to the square. So I've taken an 8x8, these are the 8x8s, and I've married it. Let's see, this one right here is this, and I've married it, this green one, to this one. Okay, so in the other, let me switch back up here. So in this one, I took the A and married it to the C. So let's go back over here. So I took the A and married it to the C. Now I could have taken this and married it to this. I could have taken this and married it to this, blah, 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 blah. So it all depends on what you want to stitch on your project. All right, and I'll show you how I put those together in my software. So let's just do this. I'm gonna go, I think I've already sent this to my machine. Let me send it to my machine before I close it. All right, file, I'm just not even gonna do a new. Yeah, let me do a new file, new. All right, so if I wanted to take an 8x8 and I wanted this one and this one together. Now I'm working in palette 11. So you have to, if you're going to do it in your software, you have to make it, you have to bring it up and change your hoop size to whatever's going to accommodate the widest part of it. So if I'm taking an 8x8, I need at least a 16 inch. Okay. Oops, and I'm in the wrong orientation. I need to be in landscape. All right, so I'm going to select all of that. Is that the 8x8? No, that's not the 8x8. Let me go back. Oh, no wonder it wouldn't fit. There we go. Okay, so I've got the 8x8. I'm going to change my hoop size. Why is it doing this? I swear to my soul. All right, I'm going to go with what will accommodate an 8x8. I'm going to take my software and I'm going to move this over. And now I'm going to, let's see, which one did I already do? I don't want to do the same one. I've got B plus D and A plus C. So this is B plus D. Let's do D. I've got D. I mean B. All right, so let's do, let me close this before my machine crashes here. Let's do D. We need the 8 by 8 in D. And I'm going to select, and I'm going to right click, whoops, select, and you want to get that little double arrow, right click, copy, and I'm going to go back over, how I'm getting around from one window to the next is to hold down the Alt key and tap the Tab button, which is on your top left hand. Okay, so I tap it. Okay, see, and I get around. So I'm going to go Control C, hold down the Alt, tap the Tab button, and let go. You just tap it one time. And then I'm going to click off of that and press the Control button and V, or I could go paste. Okay, so let me get this and move it over. So this is what you do if you have palette. Now I'm just going to marry those two. I'm looking at this part right here. Okay, so if it was here, I just need to scooch it over just a little bit more. And you do basically the same thing on your machine. Now, you'd have to eyeball it on your machine, and basically that's what I'm going to do on my software here. And I'm just going to drag this down until, what is that? Okay, it's frozen again. Oh my goodness, this is going to drive me nuts. I guess I'm going to have to take my computer in and see if there's something wrong with it. Okay, Control V. And I'm going to drag it over here. And I'm going to put the 2 points in the center together. Sometimes they make a cute little thing in the center, sometimes they don't. Alright, do I have these grouped? Because this actually consists of several. Okay, that one's grouped. And that one's grouped. Okay, so if they're grouped, you can select them both and then right click and say Align at the top, and it'll align them. Now, you won't be able to do that in your machine if you're at your machine doing it. Okay, so now you have a continuous 10 and 5/8 by 16-inch design, edge-to-edge design that you can stitch on your quilt. But I'm going to stitch this. Let me see which one. I forgot which one I have already done, put together. So I've got B plus D, which is this one right here. This is B, this is D. Okay, so I've already sent this to my machine, and these are all the rectangles, 5 by 7, like I said, 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 by 10 1/4, 6 by 10, 7 by 12, 8 by 12, 9 1/4 by 14, and 10 and 5/8 by 16. Okay, along with all the squares. So those are the sizes of these 4 designs that you're going to get. So let me get over to the machine and I'll show you how it stitches. And then I'll be back. Alright, I'm at my machine. I've brought my design up that's already married from in my software. And I have my batting and my quilt top in my hoop. You would have your quilt top, your batting, and your backing. I don't have any backing on this. I'm hoping, and I don't have any stabilizer because you don't normally use stabilizer. Change to the larger frame. What do you mean change to the larger frame? I am in the larger frame. Why are you giving me that message? Okay, so when you get these designs, they're not going to be in two colors. The only reason I have them in two colors, change the larger frame. Oh my gosh, what is the deal? Ever since I got it worked on, I keep getting that message. Okay, so when you get the designs, they're going to be in a single color. They will not be in two colors. I did that so when I was in my software, it was easier to see that the design, which design was what, when I wanted to put them together, and it was easier to marry them up. So when I brought it up in my machine, it came in as two colors because I didn't change it to one. But that's neither here nor there. You will not be having to press the go button after it stitches part of the design. It'll be a continuous, matter of fact, let me just go to the machine and make that a continuous color. Hold on. All right, so I have gone back to my software and changed the color to a single color, which is the way you will get it. And let me bring it up in my machine. All right, so we're going to start stitching. Now I'm going to make my machine go to the very start. Okay, and I'm going to hold my thread. I'm going to bring up my bobbin thread. Okay, I'm going to take a couple of stitches. Okay, and I'm going to let it start, and then I'm going to trim my thread. Okay, so I'm going to trim this, because that's what you would do if you had your quilt. All right, so let me go ahead and let this start and finish. Oh, come on, really? So this is how, oh no, don't do this to me, don't mess up. Probably should have put a backing on this as if it were a quilt, and I didn't do it. So right now, this is a continuous design, and the batting I am using is an old piece that I actually sewed together instead, because when I did this, I probably did not have any of that heat press batting together, so I think it's catching on that. I can feel the bumps, and this is the last of it that I have that I'm going to, I'll use that tape, that Marty's something or another tape from now on. I don't sew my batting together anymore. Okay, so we're going to be coming to the end of the first design pretty soon. what's going to happen. Hang on, let me rethread. Alright, so I ended up skipping a little bit, and I'm not going to go back and do anything about it. Whenever I was bringing up my thread, it advanced and I didn't back up. Alright, so it's on the second part of the design right now, the edge-to-edge design. Doing the inside of this leaf. Okay, I've got to change the run pitch on these. Okay, so it was my bobbin that was the problem. So I hope that I have rectified that. So let's see here. Let me back up a couple. It's not going to let me pull up my bobbin, so I'm going to back up a few. So we're on the second part of the second design. Okay, maybe it's my needle. Alright, so I do have some people testing these stitches, these designs, these edge-to-edge designs, and I think it's my needle, or it could be this batting issue that I have, where I've sewn this batting together. And if I don't hear from anyone about thread breakage or anything, then I know that it was either my needle or my batting that I had back here. And I would venture to say it's where I've sewn my batting together and it's catching. Getting close to the end. Just about finished. We're on the last little bit. And I think it's catching on that batting. But I will make an adjustment on the run pitch because it is pretty tight. Coming to the end right now. All right, so remember, I've got all this batting sewn together, and I think some of this is pretty thick, and it was catching on here, but let me try to pull this out so you can see it. So that is the 10 5/8 by 16 with 2 8x8s stitched side by side. All right, and you won't have a void here where they should have. Matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can back up and stitch that. So I'm going to go forward since it's at the end. Back up just a tad. Okay, well, I'm off from where it would have connected. All right. All right, so anyhow, there we are. I hope you find this to your liking, and I'd love to see your quilts when you're finished quilting. Thanks so much for watching. And hang on, I'm going back to my computer. Okay, so I've rehooped and I put in the second design, and before I did that I made a slight change to the design, and I changed my needle, so we're going to see how this goes. And if it still does it, then it proves my theory that it's where I sewed the batting pieces together. All right, so off we go. This is the other two blocks put together. And I've changed the color to all purple. So when you get these blocks, they will be individual squares or individual rectangles, and they'll each have their own color. Red is for A, blue is for B, purple is for C, and green is for D. And you just have to make sure when you bring those designs in that you're just using one thread color, whether it's off-white or whatever color you decide you're going to use for your quilt. I did lengthen the stitches a little bit. Like I said, I put in a new needle, and this is a different design, two different designs from what I stitched a little while ago. And I can see that the stitches have been lengthened. and when I pressed my fabric I got something on it, so that's alright. This is just I'm gonna sew these two pieces together and use them on my desk. Kind of as a table mat, since these are just my test stitching. Alright, so getting close to being finished with what would be the first, the part, I think this is B and C, I'm not sure. It's either A and C or B and D. Okay, so we're getting ready, coming up on the end of the first design, and it'll soon be starting what would be the second design that I brought in. Now remember, you don't have to do it that way. You can do all A's, all B's, all C's, all D's, however you want to quilt. This is just giving you some options to create interest in your quilting. Hopefully this is showing up on camera. I've done it in purple. The other one I did in red. And I did starch my fabric. Of course, if you're like me, your quilt will have a lot of starch in it. I use a lot of starch when I'm making my quilts. Even if it's an embroidered piece, I starch it pretty good when I do my embroidery to create my blocks. If it's an applique, I definitely starch it well. Okay, so we're on the second part of this design. It takes all of 5 minutes to actual stitching time to stitch this. This almost needs something to hold the hoop back there. So when I create these edge to edge, I try to make 4 different ones so they're kind of opposing, giving a little interest to the quilting. I do have some feathers that I've been working on, feather designs, edge to edge, and I hope to be getting those up pretty soon. Okay, we're on the downhill of our quilting on this. So I'm going to finish this particular leaf. And we're done. All right, let me get back to the computer. Okay, so here is the edge to edge that I just finished. And these were, remember, these were 2 8x8 blocks that I brought into a 10 and 5/8 by 16 hoop. So let me shut this. And remember, you have all these hoops that are available to you, hoop sizes. And here is a 10 and 5/8 by 16, and here is a 10 and 5/8, and here. So let me just let you see. If you want to cover a lot of area with a very open design. So here is one, and I've changed this run pitch on that. So when I did that second design, I did change the run pitch before I sent it to my machine, or I resent it to the machine, and I changed my needle, and that made a big difference. So so that's one 10 and 5/8 by 16, and then here's the other one. There's 4 of them. Remember, there'll always be 4 in each size. Okay, so here's this one. And once again, you know, you can start with this one and then do this one and then do this one and then do this one, because that's, so that's, let's see, 16 times 4 is how much? I think I have to open my calculator. 16 times 4, that'd cover 64 inches of a quilt, and it's 10 and 5/8 wide. All right, so that would be 4 hoopings to cover a quilt that size, 64 inches. That's not bad, just 4 hoopings. That's just on the length. Now on the width, you know, you're going to have to do some calculation, and you might let it have to go over on your batting a little bit to get it to fit. So so this was the last one of the 10 and 5/8 by 16 inch. Okay. All right, well, I hope you enjoy these edge to edge, and I'll be converting these the next couple of days, and getting the video done and putting them up on Etsy here sometime by midweek, I hope. All right, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy these. Don't forget, come post a picture of your quilt when you use these edge to edge designs on it. I'd love to see how you're using them. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.